Good afternoon and welcome to the market recap for Thursday, June the 24th. I'm John Hoagland, sitting in for Dan Hodgman for today and probably the better part of next week. It's my pleasure to be here with you. Thanks for trusting me with your time. I'm hoping that you had a good trading day. I know it was a challenging trading day. A lot of range bound things going on. As you can see in the title, our friend Drew says, "Hey, we're at new all time highs." Whoopee. I see Tanya already talking about taking back her thoughts on yesterday's range being too small in the E-mini S&Ps. And boy, you're not kidding. What did we have? About a 10-point range, 9.5-point range so far in the S&Ps, unless something has changed. It doesn't look like it so far. So, but all that said, new all-time highs in the Nasdaq, new all-time highs in the S&Ps. Sure, a lot of 401ks are feeling happy about that. As far as what's going on in the other markets, we're going to take a look at those on the charts just briefly. Just going to kind of go over what I'm seeing from here. Is crude oil has, while it started with a kind of a test below that weekly kickoff 72.75 area, has recovered back above those. The S&P is all in the all-time highs, struggling to settle above the previous all-time high. NASDAQ, all-time highs again, and looking like it's going to settle in new territory as far as a new settled high. Gold, what a pill of gold has been. We had that big move up yesterday. I was looking for some some momentum and some continuation on that move. It just did not happen. Remaining range bound in the range that it's been, kind of bouncing along since that $120 move to the downside last week. The euro, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. And same story with the 10-year. Not a lot of activity in those markets. Just kind of touching on a tragedy that happened last night, or I guess this morning. A condo building in Surfside, Florida, just one side of it just seemed to fall off. I mean, what a tragedy! These things, should not happen. I realize the world's not a perfect place, but make sure you say a prayer and keep those that have been affected by that in your prayers, and in your thoughts today. They're still trying to find out who's missing, what happened, and just a terrible tragedy. Sorry to kind of bring that up early in the session. It's just been on my mind all day, and we're going to hope for the best possible outcome for all of those involved and their families. As far as other news is concerned, apparently we've reached a deal in Washington, a bipartisan deal on infrastructure. I haven't had time to check out the details of it. I don't even know if they know the details of it yet, but apparently they're saying they've reached a deal after meeting with a bipartisan group of senators. It still needs to finalize how they would pay for the plan, of course. Republicans vow not to touch their 2017 tax cuts, and Biden says he will not raise the gas tax or electric vehicle user fees. Well, then thank you for that. But anyway, looks like there's progress. Still probably spending our grandkids' money, but get some things done. Probably not a bad thing. Good afternoon, Brian. First in the room, you win the prize. Tanya, always a pleasure to see you. Yes, very narrow range in the S&Ps today. Not a lot of opportunity. Well, we could have kind of expected that when we looked at this morning. The VIX was 15.6. It hasn't really moved all day. Still kind of hanging around in there. 15.8 right now. So no real action in the VIX, no real action in the S&Ps overall. I would have to say that it's been a challenging day. Tanya, if you remember, there have been periods of time where we've been basically kind of putting up $10 ranges in the S&Ps for days, sometimes weeks at a time. It's something that we have to consider as the market continues to grind higher. Without that volatility, it is going to be some smaller ranges, and you can still make money in those range type days. You just have to be expecting them. They have to be part of your hypothesis, and you have to trade to them. You let the market establish some early ranges, and you work those extremes back towards the middle. That used to be my forte, was basically reversion trade, and I've kind of had to go past that and learn to trade some bigger markets and some volatile markets lately, of course. And I'm wondering how easy it's going to be to get back to range type of trade, if that is indeed what we are going to be looking at. As long as that VIX stays below 20, we're looking at some smaller ranges. We are coming into summer. Still lots of potential headline risks all summer long. There's lots of questions and uncertainties in the world. So I think we're still going to be seeing some of our opportunities on the bigger side throughout the summer. Next week after that is the Independence Day holiday. Lots of folks will probably be taking some time off. I suggest you do the same thing, but it doesn't mean that there's not going to be some decent opportunities throughout the summer. Personally, I'm looking forward to this summer and looking forward to hopefully some decent opportunities. It's all about the context, and accurate context at that. Good risk management, and we're going to make some money. Hi, Hogue. Hey, Norman. Good afternoon. Bill, Greg, Nicholas. Yeah, 16 yesterday, 9 to 10 today. What Mason saying it was a schmuck of a day in the ES. It certainly was. Something we may have to get used to as prices continue to grind to the upside. Tanya, yep, or back in the day when it was something like 2 to 3 point ranges. Just got to shift, absolutely. The smaller ranges, are still can be profitable if you plan for them and you're right in that hypothesis. It also allows you to shorten your risk up a little bit, and if you add a little bit more to your size, you can certainly make some decent money in that. So, Greg H., good afternoon. John, is the ES tight range simply normal for summer, or is it due to other factors? I think it's due to other factors right now. I think when we make new all-time highs in the regular trading hour session, there's when we used to do that in the S&Ps, there was always a big cheer, and then what do we do now? What do we do now? Is it a faction? Is it a factor of summer? It can be. I'm not really thinking that we're going to be, in a very slow summer. There's still too many unknowns out there in the world. There's going to be opportunity this summer. Just today happened to be one of those days. Keeping an eye on the VIX, we can probably look to expand as the VIX expands. And the thing about this is we never know when something is going to happen. Somebody's going to say something, or there's going to be a major change created by perhaps a headline risk. So doesn't mean we can let our guard down. We're always using stops. It's just a little different strategy now if we are going to have some smaller ranges. Good afternoon, Joe West. All right, let's take a look at the charts, see what we were looking at this morning, and see how things played out. All right, so this is all the charts here. I'm going to put my special X-ray goggles on. Here's the crude oil. Okay, we know that this market has been moving higher. Here's the daily. And so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 days closing above weekly kickoff high and really just trying to hold the line here, hold the upper line. Here's the 30-minute chart. Opening out of range with a gap, an attempt to the downside, thwarted once we got back above this important inflection level. The market really just kind of rotated back into range, back to settlement, back into range below value from yesterday. A little bit of price bar overlap here, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4 days closing above weekly kickoff high. Time marks acceptance of higher pricing. As long as we can remain showing acceptance above 72, 75, I think we can certainly have more legs to the upside. With the summer vacation season coming up, there's going to be, with everything opening up here in the U.S., hopefully people will be able to get out and about soon in Europe and in other places of the world. That should increase the demand of crude oil. We've seen draws for the last 2 or 3 weeks here in the U.S. as far as crude inventory is concerned. So, there's fundamental information in both directions to me right now. As long as we hold above this level, the fundamental information lends towards higher pricing. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily want to be paying higher prices at the pump myself. Here's the daily and the E-mini S&Ps. Finally, here's our all-time high from back on the 15th, which happened in the overnight. Finally, we've got a new all-time high that has occurred in the regular trading hours. And like our friend Drew says, whoopee! Wasn't it a great trading day for us today? Here's the 30. Make this a little bit smaller here. So we had some pretty substantial overnight longs in this market. When the market opened up, longs remained present, did not allow the short time frame traders to worry too much. They were long. They're still holding those longs. To remember, tomorrow is Friday. Have we had a big move in the upside here this week? We could say that we have. 18th, 19th, 20th, 20. So from here to here, pretty decent move. Boy, we really spanned the range from last week. Tested below it on Monday, tested to the high of last week's range, and above it now. Where are we closing? We are going to close below this important level of inflection. Tomorrow could be another interesting day. Aren't they always, though? The NASDAQ. Daily. All-time high in the overnight. And a new all-time high in regular trading hours. Boy, this is just was a long time coming before we were able to take this out, and we're centrally located right along the center of this channel, breaking out, closing above important inflection levels like last week's high, like the weekly kickoff high, 30-minute chart. Okay, pretty decent move to the upside. No gap close early, coming back, driving higher, coming back, extending the regular trading hour session range to the downside a little bit, but still unable to close the gap. Remember, what does happen and what doesn't happen are equally as important. Take a look at gold. Gold, what a mess this market turned out to be. I was so confident that I was going to have a nice directional high motivation move to the upside after that pop the other day. It looks like as though we are having trouble holding the bottom of this bear flag. This bear flag, if it closes below it, probably didn't close below it today. This is a continuation since the 12:30 close, 12:30 central close. So take a look at the 30 and see what we see here. So the 12:30 close, man, is that close. It's going to be right on it. Actually, this actually has, I moved this on the hourly chart. So I don't know. Things aren't looking too good. We're still kind of holding in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 day range. We start taking out the low end of this range, and we take out the low of the bear flag, which on this chart appears we have. We may see some continuation to the downside, which really surprises me, but it probably surprises a lot of traders, which is why it's actually happening. This morning opening in range near value, we weren't looking for much from this market today, and really there was one decent opportunity if we were able to get this double top here and short that to take this market down to the overnight low. After that, it was just a dead stick. There was really nothing to do here, and we were saying no runs, no hits, no fouls, nothing really much going on here, and I think that sounded kind of true, came out to be true. Here's the profile for it. Okay. Not even able to get to point of control for an opportunity there. Taking the market back near the low of the overnight session. Just not a lot of movement here, not a lot of opportunity. But I say there's not a lot of opportunity because I didn't participate in it. If I was participating in it and I was able to make a little bit of money in it, I'd be really happy with the participation or the opportunities in it. So we don't want to complain. We are lucky to be where we are with the opportunities that we have in these markets. I know I'm very happy to be here every day. Get a couple other comments here. Let's see what we've got. Hey, John, have you ever thought about going over to copper being a very clean market? I have not. I do keep the chart up in one little corner of my spot, one of my screens over here, and just in case I decide to look at it. Not quite sure what to think of it yet. Taurus, just because you asked, I am going to keep a closer eye on it because I think there's another product that we could possibly add to the market forecast and the market recap. I don't see a lot of traders here trading the treasuries. We wanted to add something, that was more interest rate related, and the 10-year was hot, and everybody was talking about the yield curve and all of that. It just seems to have fallen off of many people's radar, so we're going to think about maybe changing something out. We used to look at the Japanese yen too, and then we opted for the 10-year because it was the hot topic was rates and the yield curve. So not really seeing much of that lately. Maybe it's time to change things up a little bit. All right. Dan's This Day in History. On June 24th, 1997, the Air Force officials released a 231-page report dismissing long-standing claims of alien spacecraft crash in Roswell, New Mexico, nearly 50 years earlier. I think there was a movie called Independence Day that says, yeah, there actually was a alien spaceship that landed in Roswell. Will Smith had to go up and take him out. So it's kind of funny that this is out today because there's so many reports that there are unidentified flying objects. They think that we may not be alone. And my son said to me one day, he says, when you think about if there's other life out there in the universe, extraterrestrials, aliens, he says, I think it's if there are or if there aren't, it's equally as scary. Think about that. Are we here alone, or is there something we can learn from some other beings? I thought that was really kind of smart. You know, if there are or there aren't, it's equally as frightening. Uh, this day in history, I love this. I check this all the time. Birthdays, 1944. Jeff Beck's birthday today. Jeff Beck, one of the greats. Replaced Eric Clapton in the Yardbirds. Jeff Beck Group. Done a lot of work with Jimmy Page and Eric Clapton. Mick Fleetwood's birthday's today, of Fleetwood Mac, the drummer from Fleetwood Mac. That old guy can play. 1967, Procol Harum released A Whiter Shade of Pale. It was on the Billboard today. Led Zeppelin in 1967 recorded Whole Lot of Love, What Is and What Could Never Be, Travelin' Riverside Blues, and Communication Breakdown for BBC Radio 1. There's always something about Zeppelin on this. What other birthdays do we have here? Donnie Wahlberg spent 2 days in the hospital after falling through an unlocked trapdoor mid-concert in Saratoga Springs, New York. New Kids on the Block, Donnie Wahlberg. 1999, this is cool. Eric Clapton put 100 of his guitars up for auction at Christie's in New York City to raise money for his drug rehab clinic, the Crossroads Center in Antigua. His 1956 Stratocaster named Brownie, which was used to record the electric version of Layla, sold for a record $497,500. The auction helped raise nearly $5 million for the clinic. Now he did that again 5 years later. He sold the Stratocaster, nicknamed Blackie, sold for $959,500 in New York, making it the most expensive guitar in the world at the time, which he donated, of course, to his clinic. That's kind of... God, there's a lot about Led Zeppelin, but I think we're tired of hearing about Led Zeppelin. Okay. That's gonna make it a day for me. So looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Don't forget to say a prayer for those that have been affected by this collapse here in Surfside, Florida. They didn't just probably sitting there and just terrible. Say a prayer for them. As for you, be good to yourself, be good to others. We'll see you tomorrow morning on the market forecast, 8 a.m. Central, same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good night, rest up. One more day to trade. Hopefully it'll be another good one for us. And I'll see you then.